The August 18, 2026 City Council Work Session meeting. Our meetings are public, and you are welcome to join us in person or by watching from the Council agenda page. You can also watch through Zoom or YouTube. We hope you continue to join us in whichever manner you feel the most comfortable. This is a work session meeting during which there is no public comment. You can join us tonight at the 7 p.m. formal meeting to share your comments. We, of course, welcome your feedback anytime. You can mail it to us at P.O. Box 145476, Salt Lake City, Utah 84114. You can also email your comments at council.comments@slc.gov, or you can call our 24-hour comment line, 801-535-7654. Comments we receive on agenda topics are shared with council members and posted on our website, slc.gov/council. Our first agenda item is an informational update from the administration. We're going to welcome Weston Clark, Director of Community Outreach, to give us that update.
Good afternoon, Council. Thanks for having me. Let's go to the first slide, which is, of course, always a reminder to everyone in the community to go to our Shape SLC page, where they can find opportunities to engage on topics that interest them for projects in the city. Next page. Jumping into some planning updates, starting with some good news for Avenues residents. The Planning Commission recommended adoption of the Avenues Community Plan updates on August 12th. That is on its way to the Council. Likewise, the Central Community Plan update is transitioning from Phase 1 to Phase 2, which involves drafting the overall vision for the plan, big ideas, and policy framework based on public input received. Public engagement will continue on this as it evolves, so residents can go to Shape SLC for that to stay connected and sign up for updates. The Expanding Housing Options Initiative, which is hoping to bring more housing flexibility in the city and therefore more housing options, has a public hearing scheduled for September 9th with an expected recommendation from the Planning Commission the same night. The Planned Development Community Benefit Text Amendment is a product of the Thriving in Place to include community benefits in land use changes. With a planned development, the Planning Commission is allowed to make some modifications to zoning rules, provided the project meets certain objectives related to implementing city land use related goals. This proposal will make those objectives more specific and link the community benefit required to the degree of modification being requested. This results in small modifications to zoning requiring a smaller benefit and larger requests requiring greater community benefit. This project is currently in its 45-day comment period. Next slide. Updates from public lands. The contractor working on Pioneer Park is making substantial progress on park improvements. The Ranger restroom building, iconic pavilion, and dog park shade structure are in progress. The basketball, pickleball courts, my favorite, have been poured. Playground equipment is installed. Next steps include playground surfacing, sport court surfacing, irrigation, and planting. Public Lands is planning for a ribbon cutting in November. Public Lands is collaborating with the Mayor's Office, Transportation, Engineering, Public Utilities, CRA, and Planning on concept development for 500 West and from 50 North to 900 South. The project will reimagine the right-of-way, adding greenery, stormwater management, pedestrian and bicycle infrastructure, and improved north-south connectivity. Traffic flow, business access, and parking will also be incorporated. The project team is working with key internal and external stakeholders, including existing businesses, residents, and developers along 500 West. The first public engagement event will be on Friday, August 21st on the 9 line at 700 West in a collaboration with the WE project, the West East Project Block Party. More information for that can be found on Shape SLC as well. Update on Fleet Block. On Wednesday, August 5th, the Salt Lake City Department of Public Lands hosted an open house to unveil the final vision for the Fleet Block open house, the open space. The event was held at Central 9th Market with approximately 80 people in attendance, including neighbors and community members that have participated earlier in the engagement opportunities. Feedback for the open space concept was generally positive, with excitement about the extensive greenery and shading. We have a couple of park closures that we want to give some notice about. The Ida M. Cotton Park at 1815 South 300 East has temporarily closed. It closed on Monday, August 17th, to start construction on a series of improvements designed to better serve the neighborhood and create a more welcoming space. That park will reopen in spring of 27, and the Miller Bird Refuge and Nature Park in Yellcrest will temporarily close on August 24th for approximately 4 months for trail improvements and historic structure preservation. Next slide. Notice for a great event, a free recycling event. This is part of an EPA grant for with waste and recycling. City is offering free drop-off of recycling, things like household hazardous waste, e-waste, cords, old computers. It's going to take place on August 22nd at 1995 West, 500 South from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Next slide. We had a request to update the council on the citywide survey, so I'm happy to do give you a bit of insight. Salt Lake City has conducted citywide resident surveys for more than 30 years. Over the past 5 years, survey topics focused heavily on public safety, neighborhood quality, and transportation options. The most recent biannual survey was conducted in the spring of 2024. It included 653 participants. While the survey provided valuable feedback, participation from districts 1 and 2 particularly were low. The city used the request for proposals process as an opportunity to address this challenge and strengthen the survey methodology. A key priority was identifying a research partner with effective strategies for reaching residents who have historically been underrepresented in survey results, particularly West Side residents, renters, and Spanish-speaking residents as well. The city selected Probolsky Research, founded in 1992. It is a women and Latina-owned market and opinion research firm. Now the city and Probolsky Research are currently finalizing the 2026 survey questions. The process is focused on making the survey shorter, more accessible, and more useful for policy and budget decisions. Some of the key improvements include a shorter, more focused questionnaire, greater attention to privacy and participant experience, removing unnecessary questions. Rather than relying on statistical weighting after responses are collected, the Probolsky Research will focus on producing a representative sample through its recruitment and fielding methods. They have unlimited language translation at no additional cost. The survey will be available in English and Spanish, and the city is exploring the addition of a third language. The city is also targeting 2,200 completed surveys, compared with 653 responses in 2024, and a goal of roughly 300 responses per council district. Council members are invited to work directly with the council's survey committee representatives, which is Kira Luke and Lehua Weaver, to suggest topics and share feedback on the survey. In addition to the feedback council members are sharing with Lehua and Kira throughout the process, the committee will provide a final draft questionnaire to council members to review before it's finalized. Council members can expect a final draft for review in late August or early September. The revised timeline is also designed to ensure survey results are available and presented to council in early January ahead of the council retreat. And next slide is the last one. Just a couple of shout outs for some great work from the city team. The city traffic signal team was able to find efficiencies in some of their inspection processes, which resulted in nearly a month of excess time. This allowed the team to focus on much needed maintenance as well as other special projects, such as installing accessible pedestrian signals or APS buttons at traffic signals. Due to the extra time and some additional overtime, the team was able to install 320 buttons this calendar year, leading to around 65% of the entire traffic signal system covered with modern accessible pedestrian signal buttons. This is a key compliance element of the ADA standards. Full system coverage with APS buttons is estimated to be reached within the next 3 years. And also a shout out to the park ranger team, who recently served an important coordination role between Incident Command, the Public Lands Department, and the public to relay updated information about the recent fire at Parley's Historic Nature Preserve. They redirected visitors, educated them on what was going on with the fire suppression efforts, and it was very appreciated. Public Lands also increased the presence of rangers at Liberty Park after the shooting that took place there. One regular visitor told them that she was nervous about coming back to the park after the incident, but seeing rangers there made her feel a lot safer to return. So some great work from city team that we want to applaud. And that is all I have today. Is there any questions?
Councilmember Dugan.
Thank you very much, and appreciate the update. Just want to give a shout out to also the Public Lands and the Arts on the Donner Park. I think the work they've done on Donner Park has been fantastic. I've walked through the park a few times over the last month or so, and it's loved the transformation of the new art, the picnic benches, and the rest of the sidewalk. So just appreciate all their effort engaging with the community on Donner Park. So.
That's awesome.
Thank you across the board.
Yeah, they're great team. Thank you.
Very nice. And the second thing, probably a month or so ago, I asked about getting a water update on the city water use, and I'd like to. It'd be nice to know how we're doing against our goal, but also how, like the university and the other large institutions are doing against their goal, because they've said they are having some goals, and I'd really like to see how the city in general, but also our big water users are doing on our goal, because it's a big issue.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder. I did get that note, and we'll get you an update.
All right, appreciate it very much. Thank you. Sure.
Other thoughts, comments, questions? I heard that you were excited about pickleball. I didn't know you like pickleball. I know.
Do you play pickleball?
Maybe I should start now.
I teach lessons. No, I don't really, but I'd be happy to.
That would have been amazing.
I'm always looking for more people to beat. So.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. Thank you for the update. I'm excited for some of the updates that you highlighted there, infrastructure-wise. 500 West is one that I'm looking forward to see how we merge all the goals of the area. I know we talked about this before, but I'm the most excited about the opportunity to actually get more voices at the table with the survey, the city survey, to include West Side voices. And I know that we had opinions about that last time, and I appreciate your administration reacting and really putting all the effort in getting that right. So that's a big deal to me. So thank you.
Thank you. And I definitely have to give a shout out to Haley Leak, who has been working her, can I say butt in here? Working her butt off on that project and trying to be responsive to all of those requests. So she's done a great job.
Thank you. Thank you, Wilson.
Yep. Thanks.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 2. This is another informational item. This is the Public Utilities Impact Fee Facilities Plan. This is an analysis report and proposed increases. We're going to welcome at the table Austin Kimmel, who's going to give us a brief introduction. He's our council policy analyst. Laura Briefer, Director of Public Utilities. Lisa Tarufelli, Finance Administrator for Public Utilities. Hope I didn't destroy your name. And Jason Draper, Jacobs Engineering Consultant. Nope. That's not Jacob.
He's our chief engineer. Please don't get him hired off somewhere else.
I just read the thing. So don't go away. If Laura says don't go away, don't go away.
Yeah. No offense to Jacobs, who are here.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. My mic does not. Okay, I'm going to seal this one for a moment. Okay, thanks, council members. The Department of Public Utilities is proposing increases to the city's utility impact fees. If approved, it would be the first update to the city's water, sewer, and stormwater impact fees since 1999. Impact fees are one-time charges imposed on new development to help pay for necessary utility infrastructure upgrades to serve that new development. They are paid when a building permit is issued or when a project connects to the system with a utility permit. Current impact fees have not been updated in 27 years and no longer reflect rising construction costs, inflation, and ongoing infrastructure investments that have supported that growth Salt Lake City has experienced since then. Without adjusting impact fees, other revenue sources would subsidize utility improvements to support new development. Today, Public Utilities will present the updated impact fees, comparisons to other communities, and options for the sewer impact fee structure and options for implementation, including phasing the increases over 2 years. We are seeking straw polls after the presentation, and following council direction and input, the administration will draft formal legislative documents to begin the formal adoption process, including public hearings. With that, I will turn it over to Director Briefer and her team.
Great, thank you, Austin. He pretty much gave most of my presentation there. So yes, I do have Lisa Tarfelli, our finance administrator, Jason Draper, our chief engineer. Both of them were instrumental in working to get this impact fee analysis and facilities plan conducted. It's a very labor-intensive process, financial and engineering. And then we also have our Jacobs Engineering consultants in case we have any highly technical questions on their process that traveled here today. And then Christine Beidel and our Deputy Director Jason Brown as well. And Christy's been really involved in talking with the development community and one-on-one conversations and following through with them with their questions and feedback, and she can provide any summaries of what we've heard as well today. So next slide, please. So just a quick agenda here. We want to talk a little bit about the state statute governing our impact fees and the purpose and need, the actual analysis, some examples we've pulled together that show the impact on different types of new development. And then, as Austin mentioned, a discussion and straw poll around a couple of different choices that we want to move forward with on our impact fees. Next slide, please. So just real quickly, the state code and methodology for developing impact fees, not just utility, but all impact fees, is found in the Impact Fees Act. And this process followed both the requirements for the IFFP and the impact fee analysis. And just to point out that Utah code does allow for impact fees for water, wastewater, and stormwater systems specifically. Next slide, please. Purpose and need. As Austin mentioned, impact fees are a one-time charge for new development and projects requiring increased capacity. This fee is typically collected at the time of connection or at building permit. And why now? It's a good time for us to update our fees. They have not been updated in nearly 3 decades. We're experiencing a lot of growth and change, and we want to make sure we're keeping up with the rate of change. And impact fee laws have also recently changed over the years, and we want to make sure we're in compliance with those. We did complete an impact fee facilities plan and the impact fee analysis at the end of the calendar year 2025, and that's the analysis that we're bringing forward here. Next slide, please. So on our impact fee analysis, we have our water impact fees, which are based on meter connection size to the system. The sewer impact fees, we're presenting 2 different options, and we'll do a straw poll later about what options we might want to move forward with. One is based on meter size, similar to water, and the other is based on the number of dwelling units for residential properties. The latter is the way we currently charge impact fees, but as we'll discuss later, we really think going to a water meter size connection is probably most appropriate now. And then stormwater impact fees are based on lot size per quarter acre of lot size. Next slide, please. And this is a comparison for the water utility impact fees on the existing impact fee for the different sized connections, and then the impact fee that is supported by the impact fee analysis. A couple things to note about this information. First of all, you'll see that the impact fee analysis recommends the impact fee to be a lot higher than it is currently, and that's really reflective of the amount of time that's gone by since we've updated impact fees. And then the second thing I'll note is meter size. So typically 3/4 inch and 1 inch meters serve single family residential properties. Anything above that is commercial, industrial, or institutional. We see a lot of multifamily properties, apartment buildings, and kind of larger multifamily properties in the 3-inch range, sometimes 4-inch range. So just to give you a sense of what it means when we talk about meter size and what kind of properties that includes. The much larger meters, 6-inch, 8-inch, and 10-inch, we don't have a lot of those on our system, but those are usually associated with very large industrial or institutional uses. We gave an example previously that the state correctional facility has a 10-inch meter connection or two. No. So, next slide, please. We've compared our water impact fees to adjoining communities and similar communities in other states. And so this is just a comparison for the 3/4-inch impact fee. The bar on the left of the screen is our existing impact fee. You can see it's on the very low end in that comparison. And our proposed, or the impact fee analysis supported impact fee is kind of around the same scale as others nearby. This comparison data was collected between March and December 2025, so some of those impact fees might have already changed since then as well. Next slide, please. And then for a 2-inch meter, which is usually a commercial connection, this is a similar comparison for the water utility. Again, Salt Lake City's existing fees are quite low in comparison to others, and our proposed fees are in the range of other communities around the Wasatch Front, as well as we have Grand Junction and Denver in there as well, and then Washington County. Next slide, please. For the sewer utility impact fees, the first option that we're looking at is to base our sewer impact fees on meter size. This would be a change to how we currently base impact fees based on equivalent residential unit on a per dwelling basis. The basis for meter size on a sewer system and a water system really makes a lot more sense because it is that potential capacity that connection to the system represents. So for this option, all residential, single family and multifamily, as well as commercial, industrial, and institutional would be on the same rate structure for impact fees, and that's based on that meter size. Next slide, please. The other option we looked at is to kind of mirror how we currently assess impact fees on that per unit basis. And so we would have a residential, the residential per connection fee, which would be $44,300. And then for multifamily, it would be 75% of that fee per unit. And then for other types of recreational facilities like trailer parks, for instance, it would be the same proportion as a single family resident. The current residential impact fee is $545 per equivalent residential unit. And so you can see that comparison again reflects the amount of time that's gone since we've updated these impact fees. Also, the current commercial impact fee is not based on connection size. It's based on the number of fixture units, which we feel no longer really makes sense with the types of new development that we have coming into our system. Next slide, please. When we compare to other permitting agencies based on that meter size, you can see that for typical single-family residential, New development, we are quite low in comparison, and again, similar to the water impact fees, we would be along the same lines as other neighboring communities, as well as other comparable communities. Again, we have Grand Junction and Denver in there, as well as Wasatch Front communities. Next slide, please. And really the same story when we look at a commercial connection, like a 2-inch connection. We are very, very low, and the new fees would bring us to a higher, or to a more comparable connection fee or impact fee. Next slide, please. Stormwater impact fees, the existing impact fee is $374 per quarter acre, and the impact fee analysis would support up to $1,993 per quarter acre. And then the next slide shows, again, that comparison with other entities around the Wasatch Front. Next slide, please. We've prepared a few examples of impact, the total impact fee for new developments. So we've compared a single family impact, a commercial example, and a multifamily example. These are all based on real life examples we're dealing with today. So for a single family example, a 3/4 inch meter connection on a quarter acre property, which is kind of a standard residential property in Salt Lake City. The total impact fees with today's fees would be just under $3,000, and the total for the impact fee analysis supported fees would be just under $12,000. For a commercial property with a 3-inch meter on 5 acres of land, this is also similar to an example we have right now. The total would be $43,000 under the current fees and $165,000 under the proposed fees. And then we wanted to really look at the options related to multifamily. So we have a 200-unit multifamily development example with a 3-inch meter on 0.36 acres. The current impact fee under the current fee structure would be about $133,000, a little over $133,000. On the option where we would just base the water and sewer fees on connection size, the total in this example would actually be less overall impact fees than what it is today, and that's largely because we would be basing the sewer impact fee on connection size rather than equivalent residential units. Under the option where we would be basing this on equivalent residential units for the sewer charges, you can see that the total would be magnitudes higher. And in this case, it would be over $700,000. We think that may be problematic just in terms of equity and of the allocation of costs between commercial and multifamily, and also from an affordability perspective. But we would definitely want to hear your thoughts on that. I would say that, again, the rationale of connection size on a water and sewer system makes a lot more sense than ERU. Next slide, please. So our impact fee development timeline, under state law, we had to prepare a notice of intent that we were going to be conducting the impact fee facilities plan, and a notice of preparation of the impact fee analysis that was done in March of 2024 before we started our process. We completed the analysis in the fall of 2025 and presented that to our Public Utilities Advisory Committee at that time. Last week, we participated in the Development Advisory Forum to get feedback from participants in that forum. That's a Salt Lake City convening effort. And then as we move to the future, we will look to dates for adoption and then implementation of the impact fees. I think I want to stop. Should we stop here or just go to the straw poll?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe stop in here.
Stop here for any questions.
Council members, questions? Dugan.
Yeah. Thank you for the briefing. Thank you for the rundown and the prior questions. We had a discussion on the larger units having 2 meters, one for separate from the outdoor and one's for indoor, so that we could, if we had a type of an issue where it's easy to someone to just turn off their outdoor meter so that we're conserving water. And is that still an option that's always an option for a commercial developer?
Yes.
But it's not a requirement. And was there ever any discussion on the requirement of doing something of that nature of properties that are of a certain size?
Yeah, so we have been discussing that, the requirement for a separate irrigation meter for larger properties where they have a lot larger landscape area to separate out that irrigation piece, and that would be really beneficial from a number of perspectives. It would help us gather more data on what's being used outside on these types of properties versus what's being used indoors. We can require that as part of our development review, but it's not something that we are required to do.
We could actually do that separately from this portion of the work. We could have a separate ordinance or requirement to do that separately.
Yes.
For certain size. Okay.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Did you, Jason or Christine, did you have anything to add with that? Because you're doing development reviews, Chrissy.
Sorry, everyone.
Come on. Yeah.
We definitely encourage irrigation meters. That separating the flows is really helpful for us to get accurate sewer billing. And then we even talked this morning about it helps inform rates when we actually understand what they're using for culinary water versus irrigation. So we encourage that. And we do see a lot of developers, especially when they're working on larger sites that are already doing that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Other question, council members? Councilmember Petro?
I just want to say thank you for bringing this to us. Our ratepayers don't get to decide if things are phased in or not, and they have not had the benefit of rates staying stagnant since 1999, which means that our ratepayers, which are not just Salt Lake City residents, but residents throughout the valley, have shouldered development costs for Salt Lake City, because we know that those other places that were incorporated after us, just by virtue of their incorporation date, have a more modern rate. So thank you. I know this is not going to be an easy lift. I know we're going to be standing in some crosshairs, but I'm going to stand right next to you because this is an absolutely necessary policy inflection. And if you're raising capital anyway, letting people know in advance what they have to raise is very helpful. So I wholly support this, and developers are welcome to yell at me before they yell at you.
Thank you. And that might be important for me to add here that there's two components to the impact fee. One is for planned future projects, and then the other component is recoupment, which means that there are parts of our system where we have existing capacity that new development will pay their fair share to tie into. And then it also will help us in the future as we catch up on these impact fees to really keep pace better with the rate of growth with our capacity-related projects. Thank you.
Thank you. I was just following, reading the documents that you sent, and thank you for updating us through the week about this work. And one of the things that is the mantra of impact fees, which is growth should pay for growth.
That's right.
It's not quite there right now with a almost 30-year lag and an update. I would love to ensure that we have we systemize this so it doesn't happen again in the future. So we would love to see how often we put this into, into an alarm clock so it pops up again in how many years. That's one. And wondering, since water is a topic of conversation for most of us and for our state, if there is, this may be too out of the box and strange, but if there is a way of, especially for the multi-unit development, where we can credit some or a portion of it or some of it if they don't put that much grass into their units, in a way of like saying, sure, I might waive or credit you with this little teeny portion, but don't put that much grass into your development. Unfortunately, I see a lot of multifamily home development that they have the greenest, almost blue, how green it is, lawns that I ever seen, and it's almost as a disconnect from reality. So I wonder if there is a way of using this tool as a way of incentivizing and turning the spigot on that issue.
We could certainly take a look at that. It wasn't something included in this impact fee analysis, but I'll say two things to that. One is if their choice of landscape reduces the size of the connection that they need to make, they will save on their impact fees. And then the second is I was doing a little bit of research earlier today, and I did notice that Washington County Water Conservancy District may have a program that's similar to that. So I wanted to look a little bit deeper into how that rationale fit with their system. Something we could look at.
I mean, yes, I appreciate the looking into it. I am trying to find ways that we can incentivize this issue, which is very hard because we don't have many carrots to give, nor we have a lot of sticks to throw. But I would love to see if there is some creative thinking on, especially on the unit development.
Agreed.
Any other thoughts, council members? Councilmember.
I'm so excited that we're doing this because it's obviously a long overdue. I just want to make sure that anytime we make these kinds of changes, I think we're going to hear from developers and folks in the community about this, adding to the cost of home ownership or home building, creating residential units. And I just want to make sure that we're on very firm footing to explain that we're calculating this in a way that's very similar to any other city in Utah, that we're not making it harder to develop or more costly in Salt Lake City. Do you want to just speak to that a little bit? You don't need to, but
just on the methodology that was used. That methodology first has to follow state statute, which is pretty prescriptive, and then we spend a lot of time looking at our capital improvement program, calculating the percentage of new capacity and existing capacity that could be recovered or charged. And so all of that information is laid out in detail in our impact fee facilities plan and our impact fee analysis. We've worked with experts in the field following also sector standards for development of impact fees. I'm not aware of a lot of variation in how these are calculated, but I feel very confident that the methodology is very sound and follows state statute.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. And I think your other question or statement about engagement, we do have an engagement plan and program that we've been working through with our internal communications team and our citywide communications team. I think one of the most beneficial parts of the program, though, has been the one-on-one discussions with our development community. And Chrissy's here to speak a little bit to that, if that's something that you're interested in hearing, just at a high level, what we're hearing from the community now or sometime in the future.
Thank you.
Should I dive in?
Sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
As Laura said, we do have a plan, and so I've got some notes here to summarize what we've done so far and what we plan to do. As Laura kind of spoke to, we've followed the methodology really closely, and our development community here in Salt Lake City is a very educated development community. So they are already aware of what an impact fee is and how it's calculated and how it can be applied. So in all of our research, or all of our outreach, I felt really confident that the developers are following the conversation, and it's very easy to communicate with them about it because we do have a very educated development community. We kind of started with developing a list of high-frequency, high-volume developers that we see in Salt Lake City. That's where I got to be involved because I'm day-to-day with the developers. We also tried to look at developers that are doing multifamily, commercial. We tried to look at larger, smaller, kind of get a good diversification of who we were talking to. I ended up connecting with 10 different developers personally over phone calls to let them know what we were doing, walk them through it, answer any questions over the phone. Those conversations were great, really fun to hear what everyone was doing in 1999 when we updated these fees. We got a lot of good feedback, kind of on both sides of the coin, which was helpful for us. We followed up with emails to let them know the link to the website and have them dig in. And then any questions we got back, we would follow up and then also update that website. So they helped us develop our outreach tools as we went. We even had some developers that dug in and ran scenarios similar to what Laura presented to see how it would impact their actual real-life projects, and that was super helpful as well. Laura also said on her slide that we did the Development Advisory Forum meeting last week where Jason Draper presented, and we also got some good feedback and questions from that as well. And then Laura has also met with both Mill Creek and Holiday, or Laura or someone on the administration team, to kind of help with those that we serve outside of our city boundaries. The feedback, it was really interesting to see an obvious pattern with the developers I talked with on if they do work strictly in Salt Lake City or outside of Salt Lake City. Those that are doing development outside of Salt Lake City seemed a little bit more prepared to hear this news about increases and understanding, kind of as those slides illustrate. Those developers that are doing work in Denver, they're used to the higher fees, right? And we do have a lot of developers that are consistently working here, but also work in other states. Those that are doing most of their work here in Salt Lake City, I would say were reactive to seeing the increases, especially at first. But those that took the time to sit down, kind of work with me and talk through them and look at real life examples, I think once they kind of saw how it filtered down, especially our multifamily with option 1, they were like, oh, okay, this is making a little bit more sense. And so I think we had some good communication back and forth there. Those are the outside of Salt Lake City and see, the difference and that how low we were. They also, I think, see the benefit of this, getting ahead of these system-wide improvements and, having that more proportional fee for these large offsite improvements. We had some inquiries about phasing, which Laura's going to bring up. Option 1 was definitely preferred for multifamily. I think, as you can see in that example, illustrates that well, that it'd be a very different situation for them based on which option. One of the things we did as well, every time I talked to a developer in person, email, encouraged them to participate in public hearings and provide their feedback to council. So we had a lot that said, oh yeah, I'll be there. I want to talk about this. And so I think we've got an engaged, like I said, educated and engaged development community. And so we'll continue to inform them of dates, public hearings, whatever's decided there, and respond to the questions, and then update those resources like our website and those tools as information becomes available. So, yeah.
Thanks, Chrissy.
Council members? Yeah. Council members' thoughts? It was quite shocking to see those charts on why Washington County has such a ginormous difference from everybody else.
Washington County Water Conservancy District serves water to a lot of communities in that part part of the state, St. George and others. And there's just a lot of growth in that area. There's also a lot of stress. I talk with the general manager in Washington County Water Conservancy District. We didn't talk about his impact fees, but I know from our conversations that there's just a lot going on in terms of capacity projects that are existing and perhaps proposed in the future that to accommodate that high rate of growth.
So one could say, because the fee is not stopping the growth, because the growth is still happening. So
Right.
I can see, the argument that, we are going to arguably slow down the growth of our city, but
Yeah.
that's an example where that's not happening.
Right.
So that to me was quite an outlier, that's for sure. Council members, any other questions? If not, we need to, Councilmember Beecher.
Going along with what you just said, I get that costs are rising and that they rise for our neighbors, they rise for the city, and they rise for developers. I understand that, and that none of us want to raise costs for anyone. However, I think it's more consistent with running a successful, good municipality that we assess these and in good faith allow developers to know what the true cost of doing business is here, than to artificially keep these rates low, allow them to believe that they're doing their part. I know, we've all gotten calls from developers who've been frustrated because something didn't happen as planned, or an expense came up, or we've had to go ask the infrastructure bank to come in. This actually is us running this municipality well. This is us saying this is the true cost of growth. And while we've had other things that have taken precedence, developers, this is the true cost if you want to have the high return that comes with doing your project in a capital city that has a notable growth trajectory, even while the rest of the country experiences a recessionary experience. Our growth rate may have slowed. I just had a Natalie Gochner talk, so I'm really familiar with this, but we're still growing when other people are contracting. Yeah. If the developers want to maintain any sort of ability to capitalize on it, this has to be our mantra, and this has to be what we stick to. This is our good governance to finally address this issue and to make sure that the true cost of what it is to do business here is accounted for.
I think it's fair to say that in some way our current neighbors have been subsidizing this for the growth. So this will put the city in a better financial place where our current neighbors are now having to be asked for more money to subsidize the growth.
Right.
So I think this makes a lot of sense to me. So council members, there is a couple straw polls that we have to decide on.
And we can.
I think we have one more presentation.
Oh, there's. I just put some information on those straw polls on the slides if we wanted to pull those back up.
But we're going to, excuse me, about the phasing in of the fee. Were you going to touch on that at all, or was that?
The phasing.
It's in the phasing. Yeah, it's in the straw poll.
Okay.
So if we can advance another slide. So this is the straw poll on the sewer impact fee structure options, and then we'll go to the phasing. And this is about whether we want the sewer fee structure for all residential and non-residential developments to be uniformly based on meter size, or whether we want to separate that residential development and base it on the number of equivalent residential units. As I mentioned earlier, we are recommending option one. It's more aligned, we believe, with the capacity potential associated with those connections. I think it'll be a lot more clear and easier to administer as well. We included option two because that is the existing fee structure for sewer impact fees. So option one would present a change in that fee structure. And again, we have concerns about the impacts for multifamily developments under that per dwelling unit impact fee charge.
Council members, thoughts, questions? Okay, so should we move on the straw poll? Yeah, let's do this.
Okay. I'd like to propose a straw poll on the sewer impact fee option of option 1, the fee structure for all residential and non-residential development based on the meter size.
Okay, so you're proposing option 1 on sewer
one.
impact fee.
Yes, on the sewer impact fee, the very first one, yes.
Okay, so let's show our feelings on. Okay, so that goes unanimous on that one. Now, as far as the phasing or not of the impact fees, how are we feeling?
If we could pull up the slides.
Some more slides.
Again, and
Makes
then advance forward. So this is the phased approach to the impact fee implementation for all of the impact fees, water, sewer, and stormwater. The first option would be no phasing, just implementing the full impact fee analysis amount, which we would hope goes into effect in January of 2027. And then we put 2 other options for what phasing could look like. One is to implement 60% of the total impact fee analysis amount through January 2027, between January 2027 through June 30th, 2028. So that would be a year and a half of that 60%, and then the full amount July 1st, 2028. Or option 3 would be to implement a greater amount, 70% of the impact fee analysis amount during that same time period. Where we put forward 60% or 70% just based on the rationale of wanting to catch up to what the full amount should be sooner, because the longer we defer, the longer it will take for us to catch up with the rate of growth and also catch up with the equity considerations between ratepayers and development. I do have slides in here on what those numbers look like if we wanted to look at that too.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So January 27 through 28, are those projects that are approved in 27 or that are completed? Like, when does this fee actually happen in the course of a development?
Yeah, so that's at building permit. Oh,
At building permit, correct.
Yes,
Yes, so that's how the impact fee law is written, is that we charge the fee when building permit is issued.
Is this going to create a huge rush of people before January
Potentially.
27?
Yes.
And then they can't get through
We
the
would-
process? And
yeah, yes.
yes? Yeah,
Potentially, for yeah.
I do appreciate the thought of like try to phasing it in, but I also the contrary argument of that is we're asking our residents to subsidize, the growth, and growth should pay for growth, and our residents have been hit with a lot of increases. So that to me I'm struggling with it. So I don't know. Councilmember Young, and then.
Yeah. So I think one of the things, because I agree with you 100%, and I think it's a very fair assessment to say, like, everyone else in the city has really stepped up to the plate to make sure our infrastructure is what it needs to. I think the one consideration I have is also, though, related to sometimes like the months of financing and planning that go into some of these projects. And I would, I guess I'm hesitant to impact projects that are nearing that point of submission for their building permit without necessarily having, the foresight to realize council might take this action. And so I don't know if that helps the landscape, but it's something that I'm also trying to weigh against the other needs.
Councilmember Carlson, and then Warden.
I'm curious in your conversations with developers if there was any preference that surfaced among them as they think about how to make their projects pencil.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, this was brought up by developers and they inquired about the potential for phasing. Again, we kind of had that split where other developers were understanding and said, yep, we understand, raise it, let's go. And then, yes, the inquiry kind of from developers on, could we phase this to help with that? I always pointed out we have the 90-day period and that we also gave notice and that this has been ongoing and that we've been following the processes. And the response from some was, yeah, you're right. And some of the others was 90 days doesn't compare to their financing schedule. And that's, I think, part of the reason why we're presenting the phasing is from that feedback.
And didn't we hear from at least one developer that it's sometimes the financing is an 18-month?
Yeah, sometimes financing is looking 18 to 24 months out. And so there was discussion about just that 90 days is such a small, piece of that overall financing period.
Councilwoman Young.
Yeah, and I think that the other thing that leads me to look at maybe like option 2 or 3 would be specific to I think it's one thing to ask, some of the larger entities that have, multiple projects and larger revenue sources to be able to shoulder some of these pieces. But my very specific concern is about some of the smaller, groups who are working on more of a site-by-site development effort, and just their ability to be able to come up with those funds quickly, and that's, I guess, my concern.
Some of the larger developments, this, even with seeing the large increases, is a very small amount of their overall budget, and the smaller developments, obviously, it hits harder. There's also a difference, too, in how different developments, I'm learning a lot about this in the last few years, but their financing is kind of guaranteed that 18 months before with a lender, and so changes like that can kind of cause an impact. Again, it really depends on their overall project, and getting hit with a system-wide improvement during permitting would certainly be more disruptive to their financing.
Councilman Wharton and then Petro.
Yeah, I think I'm trying not to ask the same question another way, but I just don't I don't know what I don't know in terms of how financing periods work about things like this. I would be more inclined to give a longer or a long runway at the beginning and then expedite it. Do you think would that be a wise way to do? What don't I know about what I'm about to say that I prefer?
I'll give you my thoughts on this, because I think we're in the same boat that we may not know what we don't know about I think there's wide variability in how all development is financed and the proportion of the impact of these types of fees. And because of that wide variability, and because also the philosophy of, I just think it's, on a change like this, keeping it a little more incremental might be better because of the things that we don't know. And so while I would love to see us move right into that full fee, because we need to catch up, because I'm worried about the risk that, impact fees have been part of the legislative discussion for quite some time now, because I'm worried about the equity. I would also be really concerned by impacting some of these smaller developers disproportionately in the process. And at the end of the day, it's a partnership between the city and our development community, and I feel like phasing it in to give them a chance to catch up to this would probably be the most appropriate. I am also really happy just to move forward with catching up with these, and the downside of not doing it is we have a little bit more time probably built in to complete some of these larger capacity projects, and we're deferring a little bit more of that recoupment. But as long as we move, you know, within the next couple of years to that full impact fee, we will catch up. That's my opinion, so.
Petra?
I actually think we should make it immediate, but we should have a variance option. Because like they said, some people can have their financing secured 18 months, and I do think that's disproportionately unfair to them. But we know well and good that that's not everyone, and that other projects come together much more quickly. And I don't feel like creating a permission structure for my neighbors to continue. My neighbors had no choice. They all had to step up to the bat and find $45 more a month.
No.
This is not us asking them to like create more unicorn farms. This is water. It is urgent, it is necessary. We're asking for something so structurally and basic human survivability important that I don't feel like this is irrational. So what I would rather have is do it immediately and create some clear parameters for variances for those for whom they can prove this is actually an onerous burden that would impede a project in any meaningful way, and have a way for them to revert to what was agreed to originally. But I would rather have to deal with that than to continue to have low rates that are artificially suppressed and then surprise people who are in the planning process, who before we get to permits, we have to say, oh, sorry, we were wrong because we didn't account for, get the system right. We are not, this is not some like culture war agenda. It's water. Just get it right.
Napier Pierce?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In your presentation, you said impact fee laws have changed.
Yes.
Can you just give me a quick snapshot of that and what our action kind of means in the scheme of things?
I would probably defer to our legal team to give the full rundown, but I think like on a big picture level, I think it's become much more specific around notice requirements and implementation requirements than it used to be. The timing of the expenditures under the impact fee facilities plan limited to 6 years. A lot has changed since 1999. And I don't know that we've tracked all of the changes to that part of the statute since then, but Jen, it looks like you have some.
I think just in general, I think the theme is that they've gotten much, much more heavily regulated. Mm-hmm. And I think the theme of the legislature is they don't love impact fees. And so they want the city to be as accountable and transparent as possible when even thinking about potentially maybe kind of doing them. And so there's a very, very, very high level of scrutiny that we design our impact fees appropriately, that we're spending them appropriately. We refund them if we don't spend them within a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. And so we actually track them on an accounting basis differently than other money that comes in. So yeah, just very highly regulated. It would be the theme. And I think several of us who've watched it over the years have frankly been worried that they'll eliminate it as a tool altogether for cities to have. So.
The state legislature is currently doing an audit. The Office of the Legislative Auditor General is also currently doing an audit on the implementation of impact fees, and there will be a report this fall on that, I believe.
Okay. So that's helpful to know, because rushing into something may be triggering, and I don't want us to cut off an option for us to accommodate the growth and for developers to pay their fair share. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I will say that I agree. It's always the fear of the legislature, right? I feel like there's always the theme of like, are they going to take this tool away that we really need to run the city to, you know? I think that there is a lot of, I mean, every city repents on them. So I think every city will rise up and say, hell no. But we cannot count on that, right? I think I relate to the issue of phasing a little bit too. I struggle with it a lot. I wonder if the issue that I'm seeing here is that we're concerned about mostly, correct me if I'm wrong, about multifamily development. Is that true? Like, are we mostly concerned about multifamily development?
So I'm concerned about like the individuals who, maybe have, realized that their retirement isn't what they thought it would be. And so they've bought, a property to be able to hopefully, turn around, or something along those lines. And so like that's the use case I guess I'm specifically concerned about. Not necessarily like a large scale, again, one of the big names that we see often in the city. And just knowing that those projects tend to be because they are self-funded, just, or they have a bank line of credit related to some of the construction aspects and things like that, that those can have a larger impact. And surprising people with that, I think is where I'm having a, like, how can we best approach this? Still recognizing the need.
That's good. Chris?
I'm thinking about situations, and one in particular, but I know that there are others where we have a developer that is doing something that's really filling an important community need, and they've already come to the city asking, showing us like, we're so close, the margins are so thin on making this happen, and asking for some kind of impact fee waiver or something like that, and having that all of a sudden double or more could be like the death knell of a project like that. So I don't want to like thwart our other efforts to meet needs that are also urgent by bringing those types of developments online. So that's why I'm leaning towards a phased-in approach, but I want to I understand the urgency. So,
Carl, thanks.
I see both sides of this. This is really difficult. And you don't want to inadvertently harm development that we know we need, whether it's deeply affordable housing, whether it's family-sized housing. At the same time, I know that developers are putting together capital stacks that are incredible. They're pulling money from here, pulling money from there just to get a project to pencil. And so I understand the equity argument, and we should have had that equity argument 30 years ago before we got here. But I'm glad that we're doing it now. And just hearing from my colleagues, I think I'm leaning towards option 2, a phasing approach.
Any other thoughts? Dugan?
I appreciate it because I've bounced around all three of these options before, and then even again today, and I see all of, just like Councilman Carlson, I see all the side of it, but I also think about we have till January. That's when it starts going up. So even though it's only 5 months, that's still some time there, and there's still some. It definitely makes the developer focus if he's got something close to do that now. And I was more under the option 3, but I could go option 2 or 3 because they're very close to each other. But again, back to the point of, hey, we've already told everybody who has a single family home that you got it, and it starts July 1st. Now we're giving these guys an option. So that's why I'm leaning more to the option 3 side of the house.
Member Pierce?
Just a plug for the incentive for xeriscaping. If you could embed that somewhere to encourage conservation, that would be great.
The question that I asked earlier about if it was multifamily, the issue, I was wondering if commercial was something that we were okay with, like maybe implementing immediately. And we can implement commercial, get that one through, and then leave single family and multifamily and decide in which option we feel okay with that. It seems like we see some head shaking and the positive. So basically saying commercial, implement full right now, go ahead, and then let's decide what to do with single family and multifamily.
Or just say single family, maybe? Because that's, I think, back to Councilmember Young's point on the single family side of the house, that would be the smaller guy, but the multifamily would be a little
That's
bit.
what I'm saying. Is like leave that one, single family and multifamily. Let's delay. Let's choose which.
Choose option 2 or 3?
Yes, let's decide that first. But my question right now is, can we pull commercial out of that list and say let's implement right now on commercial, right now?
Sorry, I think we would need some legal advice on that,
Okay.
because we would be potentially arbitrarily treating one group different than another, and that could affect the defensibility of implementation of the fees. I understand the intent behind it for sure. but-
Yeah, I was going to say.
Creative here, huh?
Well, and I think the same is true for what Councilmember Petro was asking about earlier. We need to be really careful about establishing a waiver request process, because that's the foundation of several lawsuits, where the most defensible fee is where every single development is treated exactly the same, and that the total cost of the system is divided equally by every unit, essentially, that feeds off the system.
So we think it's not possible. That's the legal, the quasi-legal advice right now, right?
Yeah.
Most likely. Yeah. Okay. So let's ignore all of that. So I'm trying. So option number 2 and option number 3, I heard several 2s. Are we okay with that percentage? It's basically delays the implementation, the beginning of the implementation, and then it gives more time for people to get used to this.
I'll make a straw poll, and then we'll figure out it, right?
Okay.
My straw poll is the 2-year phase-in of the proposed impact fee, number 2. Option 3, implemented up to 70% for the fee from January.
Wait.
Oh, well, it's number 2. It says a 2-year phase-in of the proposed impact fee. That's the title. And I'm saying option 3, which is implemented up to 70% of the fee from January 27 to June 30th, 28, full fee after July 1st, 2028. Option 3.
So Dan's straw poll is for option 3.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, why are you pulling 3 instead of 2? What do you?
What do you like for 3?
Yeah, what are you hiding? No, I'm serious. I'm just like, what?
I'm just-
Because to me, I don't. It's a distinction
So
without a difference.
vote no and do option 2. That's what I'm doing. Because I'm also thinking I want to get to the point where we have the fees up sooner, and 70% does that.
So to your point, and the reason I'm willing to call the vote, but let me get to the question that I want to get to. The reason why I was trying to get in conversation here was some of us might like the percentage more, we like the 70 over the 60, and some of us I think might like the delay,
Right.
the beginning implementing it more than they care about the percentage. So you're picking 70, and my question to you will be, do you like the percentage? And is that one of the main things?
So I like the percentage, but both of them are starting the same day, which is January of 2027. Both start dates are the same, January 2027. I'm just saying that come January 2027, I'm saying they pay 70% of it, and then in July of 2028, they pay 100%.
Okay.
So it's the start date's the same for both options,
Do you
2
like
and 3.
the percentage? Is that what you like? No, like? Should we call the vote? Let's call
Sure,
the vote.
yeah.
Show your feelings.
Yeah, wait.
I like somebody. Right?
So he's proposing number 70. He's proposing 70.
Because the start date is the same for both of them.
70%. Well, that's what I was confused, right?
Yes, I'm pretty
I
sure.
think it's option 3 that's on the screen right now is what you're proposing.
Yeah,
Yes.
but option 3 is,
Doesn't say January 2027.
Oh, it doesn't. Oh, yeah,
see,
look
that's
at
what I'm
that.
saying. That's where I think that option 3 is
I
written
think
wrong
that's
up
a
here.
typo.
I think they're the same.
Sorry, that was a
dates.
typo in
That's
the
a
slide.
typo.
They are both the same.
They're
They're
both
both,
the same.
that's what I'm,
This is why we were
so,
confused.
I apologize. I read that, I knew that was a typo. I should have said that was a typo, but I read that as a typo. So both start dates are January 27.
Thank you for embarrassing all of us.
We're embarrassing all.
6,
6, 7, right?
So,
no, I got it. It's officially
so
dead.
they're the same.
It's officially dead.
Yeah.
That was not intended, honestly.
The only difference is percentage. So there's a straw poll on the table for 70%. Let's show your feelings right now. Okay. That was harder than it should have been. And it's my fault.
That's my fault for not catching that typo. Sorry about that.
Yes, no, I think, I think some of us maybe catch that maybe it was a delay, implementation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank you so much for the discussion, everybody.
Okay. CIP. Well, okay. Item number 3, CIP, Capital Improvement Program follow-up. We're going to welcome Kate Werrett, Council Policy Analyst, to give us a little introduction and facilitate the conversation. I know that I bombarded you with a lot of texts all of a sudden, and maybe some of us have too, so help us out.
Great. Looking forward to being here with you today. We have about half the applications to go through, although several of those were not recommended for funding, so we may be able to slide through those ones a little bit quicker. A lot of you sent a lot of questions. Included with the staff report is 14 pages of responses to questions. I think a good place for us to start would be looking at those questions. There's a couple that I got after those responses came in that I wanted to just point out. Councilmember Pui, you asked about project number 39. And the breakdown, the itemized breakdown on those active transportation user improvements include $404,000 for a hawk improvement at the Jordan River Trail and California Avenue. Speed table on California Avenue at $117,000. A bulb out traffic at traffic circle intersection for $17,000. And raised crosswalks on Glendale and Navajo for $197,000.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, not interrupting you.
Okay. There's been a couple questions about shade that came in after. Trees, if they are part of another project, are eligible for park impact fees. Shade structures, we are still looking for a response on that particular item. Questions on the responses that you received to your particular items?
Go ahead.
I'm looking at page 49, at least of my PDF, number 16 of the administrative responses to some of the questions. Number 16 is a demolition of Colfax and Odyssey House. Okay. Well, this isn't even being recommended for funding, so it's fine. Never mind.
Okay.
Let me ask, because I was just trying to sort through life while you were talking about the questions I asked, so it's my fault that I didn't catch. My question to you was, there was the city, through CIP, we paid for a study on California, where all the schools are. That we funded that through CIP. The CIP and the study came up with a bunch of recommendations to make those crossings safe for kids. Those are the largest schools, some of the largest schools in the city. Last year, we didn't have any money, so it came as recommended from the administration as unfunded. I mean, it was a tough year.
76,000.
But
yes.
we found money from our side. I mean, from multiple places to fund a portion of it. So your answer was, how far did they gotten, and how much are they needing to finish that?
So the overall ask was $485,000. They received just over $76,000 to fund it. So there's a pretty good gap there still. Just looking at the active transportation improvements suggested in Project 39 from this year, it seems like there may be some overlap with that speed table at $117,000. That.
So basically, there is a lot, 330,000 left from that one, Cash. And I think that they made a little improvement in one of the intersections. And this is, to me, a pet peeve of mine for all of you, is that we fund the study comes back with recommendations, and then we're like, let's move on to something else. And I'm like, well, that money, Jesus. So it's really one of the most frustrating things you can do to me. So I know that this is a tough year, but I hope that if we have any money that we can, try to get closer to that project. So any other thoughts, council members? We're all like doing math, it seems like.
Okay, yes. And if we don't want to go through the questions right now, we can start at where we were in the log. I think that seems like a good spot, and just throw out questions. If you have any questions about the responses we received, the administration was incredibly thorough with the answers. Several of you asked about the water irrigation improvements. There's an answer on that for number 18. Lots of questions. Dog park citywide, there are 6. There's one in D6 already. I don't think that one made it in the questions because it was sent out already. And yeah, okay. So with that, we'll go ahead and go to the funding log, and feel free, we can circle back to the questions and responses, any priority projects you'd like to talk about. Okay, so we're gonna start on project number 30, project number 31 is where we got to last time. This is Open Clean Park Restroom Program, a new bathroom. There was a question about why this one is only $568,000 when item number 31 was about $1.1 million. That's because project number 31 was for a new bathroom and a renovation of another bathroom. And this is just one bathroom. So that's why there's the difference. Bathrooms are expensive. Questions, comments on that? Great, let's go to the next one. Projects number 32 and 33 were not recommended for funding. They were departmental projects. So keep going to project number 34. This is the Wasatch Hollow Dog Park. It was recommended for funding and is a constituent application. The Wasatch Hollow Community Council voted in favor of this to transform a half-acre into an off-leash dog area within the park. It will enhance safety and usability of the park for all visitors. So as I mentioned, there are 6 dog parks within the city. This would make it 7. And there is one existing dog park in D6. Okay. Next up, we have projects 35 through 40 were not recommended for funding. I would like to point out, if I could read my handwriting. So in general, I think we can go ahead and pass those unless there's any questions or comments. I know Councilmember
Just to reiterate, I think you guys are probably sick of me talking about this crosswalk, but in Project 37, that is where there's a request for a crosswalk at West Temple and Mead Ave with some road striping and solar-powered LED crosswalk. I would love if we can find $40,000 that we can put into Vision Zero CIP to fund just the crosswalk part of this application.
Do you have any suggestions already from where it could come? No? Or maybe later?
Let's keep going.
Okay, let's do it.
There was a suggestion for a location, I believe you said in the meeting last time, and I wrote it down. For $40,000, and I will find it while we're discussing another item and bring that up. Texas Avenue is in this area, but it is also covered by the street reconstruction, so we're covered there. If that's it, we can go to project 41. Great. This is new park lighting to improve safety and access. It's to for and extended play at the sports fields. This was recommended for funding by everyone using park impact fees. Okay, project 42. This is for a constituent application for sport court lighting around the popular pickleball and tennis courts, and was recommended for funding. That's a constituent application. Okay, projects 43 through, this is going the distance.
May I know that we probably need asking more questions. It's at this point is a little tough, but it occurred to me if you go to 42, the lighting on pickleball, is this also the tennis courts? Yes. Is there any savings if we delayed one portion of that and we did pickle and then we didn't do tennis? And again, I want to, but we're trying to figure out if there is a little spreading the peanut butter a little bit.
Likely there will be minimal savings if you couple them both together just for mobilization and getting one contractor on site, but I don't foresee significant challenges to separating that out. I think we can, if it's phased, we could probably prepare for another second round of implementation if needed.
So I wonder if I can shave a little bit from there eventually, so I will work on that. Okay, thank you.
Great. Okay, let's keep going. Several of the next ones were not recommended for funding, so if we want to keep going, we can start back up with project number pages are stuck. Project number 75. So this is the Glendale Park. It was added by the mayor. It is recommended to receive $6 million in park impact fees, and will begin, will continue and or complete the phase 2 portion of the Glendale Park. It will also increase the project contingency for this. There were many suggestions from you about potentially talking about this amount and possibly decreasing this to go elsewhere. With that said, trees, if the overall cost is over $50,000, would, and if the trees were part of another project, would be considered a park impact fee eligible item. Shade structures, Parks is still looking into.
There was an irrigation one. Would that be considered parks or not?
Yes,
It was the
yes.
water-wise.
I think it was
I can't
number
remember what number it
18.
is.
I think that was number 18.
So we can now use impact fees for upgrading or repairing. We can use impact
Yes.
fees for new things.
Correct.
This is like what she was talking about, like Jennifer was talking about, like this, how restrictive those impact fees are. But you can use them for new things, new amenities, and that really is it.
Yeah, sorry, the park impact fees would not work for that. Sorry. Thanks, Kat.
I
Yep.
mean, that's ridiculous. That really is. Especially, see, this is one of these things that we should track on as the legislature, especially maybe for this one issue. For the one issue of water-wise, maybe we should ask the legislature to like allow us for this one thing use. Yes, Young.
Yeah, so this is an unsolicited comment. I really like this project, mainly because I do feel like the neighbors have been very patient with the city when it comes to action related to the park. And I know that there are lots of reasons why it has taken us a little bit to like get up and going. But to me, it really does speak to our investment in this being the regional park that we want it to be, by continuing to provide the resources that are necessary for us to continue to advance, as opposed to, back to Chair Pui's earlier comment, having a plan and then moving on to something else. So.
Great. Okay.
You're
Thank you.
doing fantastic.
Yeah, I'm just like giving time for more comments.
Sorry, I do just do a question about the Glendale Park. Do we know how much is set aside for contingency?
1 second.
That is a great question. So for construction contingency, I'm sorry. Thank you. For construction contingency, we are required to have 10% to go out to bid. And so we would have 10% construction contingency, and then we would also have some project contingency to cover other unforeseen project costs. So currently that would be around $2.8 million for construction contingency. It's a large project.
It's a big project.
That's a great deal of contingency money.
That's actually
that.
very, very standard and actually best practice.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I just want to understand.
For sure.
The bigger the project, the more wow that number is.
Yeah. Yep.
Certainly and I mentioned this to some of you that approached me on Glendale. I will struggle to make any changes on this when we promise so much to the community, and then we are, the only reason I will entertain myself as an individual that represents the area shaving some of money here is if we actually shave through a lot of districts and then we can pull money together. But I am not going to sacrifice the one amenity that we promised the West Side that they're going to get. Councilmember Petro.
I'm not in favor of, we've made this promise and we should keep it. Has it always been our plan to take park impact fees at this level for this? This doesn't feel like a departure to me. It feels like formalizing a plan that we've always had for financing Glendale Park. Is that true?
So we have used impact fees in the past. Originally, the park was funded through both bond and impact fees. And then there was a time where we swapped some of those. But yes, impact fees have always been in kind of.
And this isn't outside of the scope of what we anticipated the original amount of impact fees would be, correct?
When we originally estimated what we thought it would cost to build this out, this was back in when we were working through master planning and visioning. And at that time, I think we estimated the project to be between 45 and 50 million for build out. And this is within that.
Okay.
So
it's proportionate to the original plan. So I'm not in favor of cutting it at all.
Great. So vocally here, 3 of you are not in favor of adjusting that number at all.
We're straw pulling the negative.
Great. Perfect. Let's look at number 76, the bike racks. I think there's a little bit different opinion on this one. This is a mayor-added project to add bike racks. These are going to be in places that are requested by businesses and constituents throughout the city as needed. There's typically a waiting list for these, just so you are aware.
And this is one of those that the mayor, recommended, but CIP board didn't.
So this one was added by the mayor after the CIP board had reviewed projects. This one and Glendale Park. So they didn't get a say on this.
Yeah.
Just added after the fact. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And could you specify where these bike racks would be going?
So it's my understanding, Lynn might come up and correct me, but constituents and business owners will request bike racks or replacement bike racks near their businesses.
Lynn Jacobs, our transportation director. Yeah, that's exactly right, Kate. So this is a common request we get from business owners as they see an increase in active transportation users and cyclists coming to support their business, they struggle often to find parking for those bikes. And so we regularly get this request. When we've been able to fulfill it in the past, it's incredibly successful. So we don't have specific locations identified. This just gives us the ability to be responsive to those business needs as they come up.
I'll just add that I've had 2 constituents contact me about this, saying that they wanted to donate the bike rack or make a donation to make this happen. And like the city, I guess, has to lay they can donate the bike rack, but we have to like lay the foundation or something. So I think this is an example of one where we can get a lot more than $50,000 worth of value by putting this small-ish amount towards it. It's something that's easy to donate, and it could be available citywide.
I also wanted to highlight, because this is funded with the property tax,
Voted for that.
we would need to make sure that we could move that money, because I think that we're required to execute what you guys approved last week, which was that $50,000 would go to bike racks.
We can't move this.
Other thoughts?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
On 42, the Glendale, I mean, I would love to divert some of that money to trees. I don't think we need to, all of it, but she said that we could phase in and there might be some savings there.
Yeah. I'm open to,
Our urban forest
delaying
is
some.
really needing some care.
By the way, these pickleball courts are the most used in the city right now, and they are, the pickleballers are pretty intense of my constituents of mine, and I have a great deal of appreciation. By the way, they are the ones who made this happen. After the plan design for the park was done, it didn't include them, or it included them in different phases and a smaller amount of them. And they organize and raise hell, and they really opened up the city to say, let's build it. And they are taking care of them. They're actually having an international competition coming out next week there. So they're very, very careful of this. I do think that we can shave some. I think they will understand what we're trying to do, but I will struggle with like cutting it all together.
Mr. Chair, I'm wondering, do we have a sense of the breakdown of costs for pickleball versus tennis? I mean, and not to fuel a pickleball tennis rivalry, but could we prioritize a pickleball courts?
Yes. Well,
and then with the savings, support some of the things Councilmember Napier Pierce is talking about in my crosswalk.
In terms of a cost estimate, I think the footprint and the lighting would be very similar between the tennis and the pickleball, but with like the additional mobilization, we would probably need about $500,000 to do one or the other set of courts.
So that gives us a little wiggle room there. So do you think that we could just stop all this right now and no? Okay, well, okay. Young?
Well, so I guess I'm wondering, can I bring up a different project that is also funded with park impact fees? Because maybe that's a better option. Can I?
Yeah, bring it up.
Is that allowed? Okay. So can we go back to number 31? So I have a lot of questions about this one. And it's not going to be a surprise. But a lot of it has to do with the fact that a couple rounds of CIP ago, we funded a restroom study that my understanding is like still in process. And so I guess I'm having pause on allocating additional money without the outcomes of a study that's a couple years old. And wonder if there is another way to potentially use some of those park impact fees related to some of the other pieces that are being discussed. I don't know. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Yeah. Oh, can comment. I'm not sure if there's a specific question. I'm sorry. But you're correct. There is a restroom study that's funded. It is informing design of the several restrooms that you all funded over the past 2 years. And so recommendations coming from that are going towards the design of those restrooms that are ongoing right now. The study hasn't been officially completed. We're working on level of service assessments, and then there was a budget amendment that kind of expanded our scope to all citywide public restrooms, so we're finalizing kind of that portion of the study right now. The outcomes of the restroom study would inform the design of this restroom as well, but yeah, we don't have that explicitly to share with you right now.
And I guess I'm thinking about it in terms of not to say no, never, but if we don't have that information that we've already funded to be able to inform, maybe this just isn't the top priority today until we have some of those outcomes, and the funding would be in a more immediate use case, potentially elsewhere.
So you're basically saying, let's put a pause on this for this year.
I'm very open to considering putting a pause on 31 and looking at if there are, it is park impact fees, so it can't go anywhere. But if there are other needs in the park impact fees space that are a higher priority related to speed of implementation, that could be considered. I don't have anywhere I want it to go, just to be clear.
So we have a little park impact fees. I wonder if there is any project that is funded with multiple sources, and then we can be, and it's eligible expenditure, and then we can supplement, we can swap the funding, I guess.
Wasatch Hollow Dog Park.
Unless the use that you are putting the money to is parks impact fee eligible, such as trees. So.
Okay, so the trees one.
Tell me this, does it have to go to a specific project on here, or just generally trees?
It would be a council added item, which is not unprecedented. We try and get as specific as we can so that the administration knows how to spend the money once you actually approve the thing. And so we might want to be more specific about, like, new trees in every regional park, or new trees in all park strips, or I don't know.
Council Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Number 10 has 450,000 coming from general fund, but it looks like we are creating new trails with it. So that might be a place to park some of this money and free up unrestricted funds to put elsewhere.
So would that one apply, urban trails?
It looks like it's the design of the Red Butte Creek Trail and construction of active transportation gaps. So it looks like it's creating new stuff. I would need someone who...
This is the one that I wanted to put a pause on, by the way.
I think so if you moved the general fund piece, that would be fine, but the restricted property tax piece would have to stay.
That's what I was, right, yep. That's what I was saying.
So swapping.
Taking some of the money, so then that adds 450,000 from an unrestricted pot that can then go to other priorities without restrictions, such as things that are not new.
The full amount on this one is coming from the restricted property tax category. It was recommended from the general fund.
That was just the recommendation.
The board, but
so
the mayor
is
moved
restricted?
it. This is restricted.
Thank you. Okay, sorry about that.
Maybe since you're up here, can you confirm whether or not park impact fees could go towards? Actually, never mind. It's restricted funds. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Well, maybe to this and for the stuff that may be in the room for the public lands, you guys, are there any projects that you can think of? Maybe you can help us with this. That is using multiple sources of funding, and they have restricted. That we can swap park impact fees to free money that can be used in better ways.
I think we'd have to defer that one. That's going to take a little bit of head scratching and,
yes.
and brain power. So if if that's all right. I think
So we're trying to-
wait on that one.
What are we trying
Well,
to find?
That's what I was.
There are two things I love. I love the irrigation, the water-wise irrigation. I guess that's not feasible because it's an upgrade, not something new. So my second choice would be trees, or urban forest seems to be in trouble. So
if it's for enhancing the urban forest, that would be Parks Impact Fee eligible.
So we could potentially fund that portion of the program. So how do we feel about this suggestion of, I think it was 31?
Yes, it's 31. Also, I just want to point out that project number 22 has both road and park impact fees. That's the park's legal compliance with 2010 ADA standards for accessible design programming. So that one,
22.
it's transportation related. That would have to be the other element, but
So we are swapping, a restricted fund for a different
For a
restricted
different
fund.
restricted
But if it applies to roads,
so much math. Did you get your 40,000?
No, not you.
Okay.
we found where that's at.
Thank you.
And then I lost it. So, but it's on the second page in the funding log is
What
where
number is
you
it?
recommended
What's
it.
your 40,000 for again?
My 40,000 is for,
Or
I'm
not
just
the
asking
second.
for a crosswalk at West Temple and Mead Ave with flashing
Project
beacons.
number 9, the Vision Zero. Last time you recommended $40,000 for the crosswalk for Mead Avenue. Come out of
Yes.
project number 9.
Yes. It was a part of a larger constituent request, but I don't think we can fund that larger constituent request, but I just want to prioritize that crosswalk piece. And because it's less than 50,000, that's why I want to put it inside of Vision Zero.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I'm fine with that. Let's straw poll that so we can get it out of the way.
Okay.
Where is the money from?
So project number 9, adding in the Mead Avenue crosswalk into that project and allocating $40,000 specifically to it within project number 9.
Right, but where would that
Oh.
extra 40,000 come from?
Oh, that's a good point. There's funding our future? Would you like
Okay.
Would you like to take from there?
I'll take it from
Oh,
wherever
you're
I can
saying
get
taking it out of just the big, the bucket? Just so what's that total project
No, I don't
cost?
think it's clear. Are you saying with it, that no new money, but they must use
40.
some of the 2,300,000 for your crosswalk? Or are you saying the crosswalk is going to be added into this and we're adding it to, so it will now be 2,340,000?
Either one.
Either one.
Either one. My ultimate goal is to get this crosswalk funded.
Okay.
So as we're looking at flexible dollars to support that,
Yes.
I'm curious about item number 11, which is another lighting replacement item. That's $564,000 from the general fund. Is that eligible for impact fees or no?
That's
Parks
general
impact
fund
fees.
dollars.
That's
so
general
you
fund,
can
but
use it.
would that be eligible? Could that?
Oh, actually,
could we do impact
I'm
park
sorry, I
impact
take
fees
that
for
back.
those?
It wasn't recommended for funding by the mayor.
Okay.
Sorry.
And I
Got it.
don't think that would be impact fee eligible
It's a replacement.
because it's replacing existing.
Yep.
But we did identify a minute ago a road funding, right? Like if we swap the funding for, God, I'm losing my track. So if we stop the bathroom, if we put a pause on the bathroom, and then we go and use the funding and
Project 22.
we'll go to 22, and we swap the ADA funding for the 1/4 and the fifth sales taxes. That will free us, that will give us 486,000 of money that we can move around. And that could give you, what, your 40?
I'm not following that. Did you guys follow? Sorry.
Well, we talked a little earlier about
Okay.
stopping the bathroom.
Okay.
So then that bathroom is,
That frees up Parks impact fees.
correct, we put it here to complete this
The
money.
$800,000. Okay.
And then we have
Transportation
486,000, but
dollars.
you'd have to find a transportation
That's what I'm
use.
just saying.
Okay,
She needs
great.
transportation for 40,000. Okay, but so who followed this? Well, it's funding it. It works. So you said
Okay. I'm going to propose that we just add in Mead without additional money, and they need to find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Within that $2,300,000 pot.
It's very,
that's doable.
I understand
That might be easier.
that we have a bathroom. I understand that we have a bathroom study pending, but this is one bathroom. I think it's important that we fund this. The CDCIP board thought that this was worth funding in spite of that. And there have been times where I've been in a Salt Lake City park where I feel like I would have paid $500,000 to have a working bathroom. So for me, like I feel like we need to move forward, incremental progress on that while the study's pending. So I would not support taking that money.
Well, I wanted to take the money to, at least part of it, to fund the road that we study and started and we didn't finish by the schools. So this is why I was like, maybe this is a good opportunity of funding all these road things and trying to get to the crossing where all the schools are to what we promised the community. So
Which one was that?
well, that was, I think it's a new item.
So
Glendale safety crossings or something like that. But basically, we're short $300,000 from the previous years.
But so it's not on that list?
So it's from last year. Well, okay, sorry, the Glendale one is not from last year. That one's this year. Let me find that. It has a lot of overlap with one from
It's 39.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
But Glendale is talking about a lot of things in there. But what we did 2 years ago is we funded a study, through CIP that told us all of these crossings by the school on California need to be safer for the kids.
Yes.
Last year we didn't have any money for it, but we fund $70,000 out of the $400,000 that require. So what I was trying to find is a little money to get a little closer to another intersection out of the 400. So if I can get, another 70 to give to this project, that's why I was moving around money that was for roads.
But what if this is going to go towards a bathroom in your district that also need it?
I know. I believe. I think this. Go ahead.
So I have a response to that, which is that what I have seen, and the reason I've created this mess team, is that we are all waiting on like this really exciting, wonderful, informative bathroom study, which is then going to allow like multiple projects to move forward. And I'm really excited about that. With that said, because we're still waiting on those outcomes, in the interim, we have been taking resources that are very limited and very competitive and putting them towards bathrooms that have yet to be realized. So it's not a no never, but it is like, do we want to hold on to money for like as we're awaiting that outcome in that process when there are other needs that seem to be more higher priority and emergent, and then once we have the outcomes, that's when we can actually scope these projects related to the bathrooms to be both what are we getting, cost effective, all of that good stuff, best practice.
Yes, and my answer to your question is yes, I do think we should still move forward and not wait, because we have a CDCIP board that we charge to look at all of these, to rank them. They put a lot of time and effort into them. Even though we've spent a significant amount of time too, they put months and months into them. I don't want to change it last minute.
Yes.
Unless I know of a super compelling reason.
And the counter argument I would make.
They considered both.
I see it, but I don't know that to be true, because I can tell you, like, the bathroom study was a constituent application coming out of D7. So I am like very familiar with that. And that request is multiple years old, having not been realized yet. So is it clearly stated in all of the previous projects that are recommended for bathroom improvements, which I agree we need, that it's like, we're gonna do this, but not until this other action happens first? And that's the part that I don't feel has always been clear. And so then I get phone calls as a council member for District 7 related to bathrooms that have been funded, and I'm in the process of explaining why those aren't happening because we're holding off on this piece. And so, like, I am not, I cannot say with certainty, but I am not clear that the need of the project is being reflected in relationship to the other processes that have to occur before that project can be delivered on. If it's just coming forward that our bathrooms need help, yes, I agree with that. But in terms of being like, but this money won't actually be implemented until these other actions occur, that part I have not clearly seen represented, and that is a new piece of information worth considering.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate the extra analysis and distinction. I probably will, because I know how much time the CDC board puts into this and how seriously they take their job, and part of what we are asking them to do is to do that work for us in a way that is representing all the districts, and that is not kind of last minute us taking from here and putting to there based on information that we have, which I think is good. I'm not saying we should never do that, or that we should always just like blank slate adopt what they want, but in these moments where we're trying to kind of do it in what to me feels a little rushed, I'm inclined to give more deference to what they're saying.
So Chris, I think this argument, we can split this argument in multiple ways that are all very reasonable, really. But I think what I struggle with, and I said it at the beginning of the discussion, is when we we funded through the board recommended a study, for example, that recommended a bunch of things, and then we are now paying for it. So at some point we need to start making decisions and say, like, we need to start making good on the things that we are telling the community, or, and I understand that the CDCIP board is looking at this snapshot of projects in front of them, but there is a long list of projects that we funded studies for that we didn't make good on. So this is why I think that all of these arguments could be, twisted in a good way and to make a case for us. I am trying to find money for safe crossings for kids, and it doesn't mean that we have an emergency in a bathroom is less important. I know that it isn't when we're in that situation. It's actually quite urgent. But I'm trying to. That's my argument to the community. So, Councilmember Petro.
Can I also, the brilliance and the frustration about CIP is that it is public dollars that we subject to private will after hiring subject matter experts who have told us how to prioritize certain things, like street crossings. And so I'm struggling with things like, I definitely want your community to be safe, but that project has gotten a disproportionate amount of time, attention, and resources from the city because you have really great community leaders who have stepped up. I'm not convinced that we've done enough due diligence to say that a simple crosswalk protects your neighbors crossing at a place where the freeway enters the city. And so it feels like we're going to put a Band-Aid on a bullet hole in a sign to people saying, we heard you, instead of doing the actual work that needs to be done, which is to say, if we have now let the private world dictate how we spend this public dollar, and we have created a new park that was not part of any plan previously, but is now an important asset to the neighborhood, what does safety actually look like? And so I'm struggling with these things as well. I mean, $500,000, as far as I know, is one bathroom. So it's not like we've allocated enough to even do a ton over there either. So I'm really struggling with where the better part of wisdom is on all of these things, because I'm not saying you don't need a crossing. I am saying the need for the crossing has been manufactured by the urging of people who are very skilled at making their case and have created something beautiful. I don't know that our solution now makes it any safer, and I don't know that we're prioritizing things in accordance with actual needs. And I do think we're in a time where actual needs have got to trump preferences in the city. This is a need to have moment, not a nice to have moment.
Well, point of order, Mr. Chair. I did make a straw poll.
Yes.
So let's just vote on that, and then we can talk about the other things. The
okay.
straw poll was that we're gonna say that they need to fund a crosswalk out of the existing amount. So they just need to find a way to work it in there.
Okay.
By either eliminating one or cost saving somewhere else.
Okay.
Anyone in favor?
Show your feelings.
Great.
Yes, make it happen. That's the
Thank you.
Done.
Thank you.
So-
Next item.
So I feel like, I think the next, because I think Jennifer just highlighted this to me, we can spin on the bathroom or not. I think if we put a pause on it, then it allows us to move in conversation or not, right? Like that. So I think maybe someone should suggest to put number 31.
So the straw poll would be, do you want to pause on 31 to free up that money?
I would like to propose a straw poll to pause on Project 31, Safe, Open, and Clean Park Restroom Program, new restroom, and consider a reallocation of those funds.
Show your feelings.
Before that's like finalized, finance let me know that with that one project with the transportation.
We can talk about that later.
Oh,
we have
Sorry.
We have a proposal to pause this bathroom. So we have four ahead.
Okay, so now you have 568,000 in impact fees to discuss. There are some of the projects that we discussed that the chair discussed moving things from one place to another to free up flexible dollars are not, in fact, able to be moved around. Yeah. There's a 60-40 requirement for that item. So if you reduce any of the quarter cent for eligibility, then it has to be proportional.
Yeah. So out of the $568,000 in impact fees, it could potentially fund, this is new trees. So how much money, is there public lands here? Yes, there is obviously. But, do we have an amount that we want to put on trees? Is that something that we?
Shade.
I don't know if anyone else shares my passion.
I do.
I share your passion for trees. I just want to make sure I'm on the same tree train. Is there a
tree
particular tree lot? Yeah. Is there a particular project related to trees, or is just trees in general?
I think because it's using impact fees, we would need to be specific in adding an item that says expanding the urban forest, because we can't use park impact fees to replace dead or dying trees.
So do we know? Do we remember how much? I know the administration, the mayor has a program for 1,000 trees on the west side. Do we have an idea of how much money they spend on that to give us some reference point?
I will probably have to defer to our urban forestry team, but we can get that to you in writing. I will say I think one of our biggest challenges with adding to our urban forest is the lack of irrigation to new trees that go in. And so sometimes, new irrigation though, sometimes tree-specific irrigation can help our urban canopy survive.
It is true, but this is what I learned. This is park impact fees. So it could be for new irrigation lines. So it could be to actually create an irrigation line that is only for the trees. So that's a good thing for both of the goals that you're trying to accomplish. So it just cannot be a replacement.
Correct.
But one of the things I learned from the West Side project, the 1,000 trees on the West Side, is that many neighbors struggle watering those trees, especially when they are young, and that's when they are brittle and weak. But the city could actually focus on areas that we are actually watering already, and they had success on that, quite a bit of success. So I think the mortality rates of the original trees were crazy. Now they're like being more strategic about planting them, and they're getting good success. So I will be, this maybe accomplishes two of the goals, is the trees and then trying to chip away at the upgrading the water, the water resilience of these trees with new irrigation lines.
It is.
Yes.
I appreciate the trees because I'm also on the trees, but usually when the CIPs, it's a pretty specific area because we're asking for trees and we all want them.
You had too many on your side. No,
Right.
I'm not starting that. I will say that.
And I'm not even asking for on my area.
I don't want to restrict because maybe you do, but I would be okay if they are in your part of town. It's just as long as we are moving towards that goal of like actually creating a
yeah, and we already budgeted through the urban forestry. They have a budget for urban forestry for new trees, and then we went through the budget process and approved the budget in June for the urban forestry for the projects themselves. So I want more new trees, but we already have a budget for that, and that probably came with some of the irrigation and some more thought. So that's where I don't want to. I want to promote the trees, but there's a process when we went through here on the budget side of the house, on the tree side of the house, on the irrigations of those trees side of the house, so that those trees are alive and those are moving forward. And that's what we did through June to approve the budget. So now we're saying we're going to add trees at the last minute here for 5 minutes and saying, no, we're going to do it here, here, and here. And that's where I'm kind of like, and so that goes back to my point on item number 31 on the bathroom side of the house. So I like the $40,000 going to Vision Zero, but the other side of the house, we're at the last minute straw pulling and spending a lot of money here on moving funds around for park impacts. And there's a lot of parks in here that we could fund with that $500,000, but I'm not sure where else that money's going to go. And so I'm
Carson.
I love the trees. I love the trees. Let the message not get construed. I want more trees. I think that's a priority for our city. But Councilmember Dugan, as you're talking about, we did have a process in the budget where we talked about urban forestry and not wanting to be hasty in making a decision that we haven't fully talked through. Where these trees would go, what they would look like, what's the irrigation associated
That's all
with
fair. I was not here during that budget process, so I will be next time.
That's fair enough. And I'll be on your team next time.
The thing is, like, we even during the budget process, we didn't ask those questions either. We didn't ask where they're going to be. We didn't ask those, so it's also like unfair to say that we need that information to approve the budget because we didn't ask those questions then. But I think to your point, I think the administration had a plan. We trusted that they had a plan and they knew where to put him. And so I think that, again, the question that I have on the table will be, could the administration use this money wisely for new trees and new water irrigation lines that are water-wise? That to me is the ultimate question. If the question is like that's a lot more than we thought, we can handle, then it's different for us.
Yeah, what I would say is, and these are all great questions and a really good discussion, and I think everyone has brought up some really good points because even as we have funding to purchase these trees, in talking with our urban forestry division, we've learned that it is difficult to find locations sometimes based on the irrigation needs, whether there's not a close irrigation tap or whatever. So what we've been doing in the recent past is coordinating closely with them through these new projects that are coming online to be able to coordinate and really offset some of the costs that would otherwise have to go towards these trees in these new parks. And we're able to plan for them and actually provide irrigation as part of the design. So we're trying to get ahead of that while offsetting some of the project costs and allocating that to other amenities within these projects. And so we would love to entertain something like that. If we had additional funding, we could look at maybe some of these projects that are coming online or in design that we could maybe use some of that money to purchase the trees and offset those costs to put towards other amenities within these projects. That's one option. I'm not saying it has to be the final option, but, and then, yes, I think we could work closely with our urban forestry division to identify other areas outside of new projects that could use new trees.
Mr. Chair, can I propose a straw poll?
Yes.
I'd like to put the 568,000 back on item number 31 and be done with this. It's a process. It's gone through the process.
We voted on this. Why would we re-vote on that?
Because after we voted on it to free up the money, now we can't decide what to do with it.
No, I think we can figure out how to do with it. We just
I want to
need a little
vote on
time.
it. I want to put the money back, and I want to be done with CIP for this year. I think we have this money to spend. We have a proposal that's been recommended. Let's put the money to that proposal and move on.
I hope that we had that conversation when we're not funding the plans from CIP for previous years too, right? Like, you know, I struggle with that argument, but how do you guys feel? Do we? Yeah. So putting the money back?
Yeah, we got 4. That's 4. Let's be done.
Yeah. So it went back. I will send all of the comments on these crossings to you, so you can handle them. So I will say that this is, to me, as a disingenuous for our city to keep on funding studies and then funding pieces of things while we fund studies and then wasting our resources that way. Then forgetting, because it's a different CIP, so what happened before is not important to us, and that's really unfair.
Yeah, and I genuinely, just to speak to that, Mr. Chair, I don't mean that to be like flippant, my straw poll or anything, even though like you might have thought that if you tuned in right at that moment, one might have, but I share that frustration. There are also lots of projects in my district that there were plans that were never acted on, or we took so long to act on them that the plans are out of date and then we've had to fund a new plan. And so I 100% share that frustration, and I don't mean to like in any way to like cut off that conversation by the proposal that I proposed. And I do think that we need to fund.
I agree. I agree, and I don't think that the bathroom is like the place that I'm dying on, right? But I don't want to ever die in a bathroom, really. But but I will say that at some point we need the courage to say we really need to stop funding studies, or we're going to get caught up on the previous studies.
I agree.
And there's going to be decades of studies that we didn't fund. But can we actually make good on a study that we actually funded not too long ago for safe streets for kids?
But
I wholeheartedly
the other
agree.
things.
Well, I wish you vote
no,
for the-
no, but I agree. But I think it's
Match
actually a
that.
systemic problem, not just unique to what we're seeing here. So I just want to emphasize that.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing we need to stop doing is looking like we're trying to find a place to spend public money based on creative public input, instead of responding to the actual needs of the city when our neighbors are increasingly only spending their money on their needs.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the discussion. It was good. We survived it. We will lick our wounds and move on like every year. So board appointments, number 4. Thank you so much, Kate. You survived that too with us. You need a drink. So board appointments, parks, natural lands, urban forestry, and trails, Peanut Advisory Board, Regan Hale. Are you in person? Oh, yes. Hello. Welcome. You put yourself through all of that. So welcome. Please, I'm going to have to step.
I'm sorry.
Hello. We have a guest in front of us. Can you tell us briefly why you want to join this board?
Sure. My name's Reagan. I've worked kind of in land management adjacent professional roles for the better part of the last decade, and now find myself in a professional role that's a little bit more adjacent to that. I am an enthusiastic user of a lot of the spaces under the purview of the Peanut Advisory Council, and so I'm excited to bring kind of a combination of my professional experience and enthusiasm for these spaces to District 7 and the city in general.
Thoughts? Yes, Councilmember Young?
We are so glad to have you. And I really do appreciate, one of the things that we are fortunate to have is some of, not just the best parks, but we have an incredible regional park in Sugar House that we're looking to really replicate in the Glendale area. And I'll just tell you that that park needs some love and attention when it comes to how we work with other municipal authorities on being able to fund what those needs are. So I hope that you bring that voice of advocacy, and our amazing leaders at the city have always been such a champion for that park. But it would be great to have a strategy on how we get our neighbors to be equally invested in keeping it as great as it is.
Great, thank you.
I will say the Peanut Board is one of the most impactful boards in our city, and there's a lot of boards, but this is one of those that really make a big difference in our city. So I'm excited that you're joining us. So you are going to be placed in the consent agenda tonight, and you don't have to be there. And the administration will reach out to you after in the next week or so to tell you what the next steps are.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all.
Board appointment for Racial Equity in Policing Commission, Avery McAfee. Are you?
Hi, that's me.
Hi.
I'm sorry.
Wow. Okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. Will you tell us briefly why you want to join this board?
Hi, yeah, I would like to join this board because I think my skills can be useful and could be really serve the public good. I was reading over the duties earlier, and I noticed that one of the duties is to interact and receive public input on how to be better. And I love talking to people, so I think I'd be really good for this job. And I think that I want to use my skills to help my community. And that's how I want to do it, by making the police force more diverse and using my gifts in a way that benefits others.
Thank you. Councilmember Carlson.
Hi, Avery. I think I might recognize you from somewhere. Would you be willing to share, a little bit about kind of your past involvement in city government and learning about how to make an impact locally?
Oh, I would love to. So the past 2025 to 2026 school year, I was part of the Youth and Family Division's Youth City Government Program, which is a program that allows teenagers like me who are in high school to interact with the government officials and learn about government operations. And joining that opened up so many doors and opportunities for me, including allowing me to speak before you all here. I also got to work with a lot of cool people, and I also got to learn a lot of things about public policy.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for stepping forward to serve the city again in this respect, and I'm delighted to see that you've put your name in the hat here.
I can feel Representative Angela Romero winking at us right now, smiling about this. So thank you so much, Avery, for your willingness to serve. You're going to be placed in the consent agenda for tonight, so you don't have to attend the meeting. And once we approve the consent agenda, we approve it generally as a group, the administration will reach out to you soon to tell you about the next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. Board appointment number 6, Racial Equity in Policing Commission, Nicholas Pensari. And is here in person. Nicholas, welcome. Put the microphone close to you, push the button so the green light is on.
It's on.
And then tell us briefly why you want to join.
Yeah, hi. It's good to see all of you. My name is Nicholas Pensari. I'm a resident of Salt Lake City. I'm involved in the criminal justice system. A big part of why I want to be involved in this work is I love this city. I also, as someone who works in the system, understands the historical baggage that we carry. A big part of what I try to do in our system is bring best practices to our office. And one of the things that I feel like I could be valuable is bringing best practice to our police department. Another part of something that I cherish deeply is community involvement and community engagement. And one of the things that stood out most to me about this commission is how much the community is valued, the dialogue that goes on, all of that work. So again, I'm just happy to serve and want to be a part of my city government.
Council members?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for your application. We, not that long ago had a room full of candidates who were trying to fill a vacancy, and a lot of those candidates, had a lot of talent and they had a lot to offer, and it made the decision really difficult. And I always say I hope that those people will come and get involved and give back in another way to the city. And you don't always see those candidates come back. So I'm really glad that you did.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting yourself in this situation and giving your time and talents to making our city better. You're going to be placed on the consent agenda, as I was saying before. We're going to be approving the consent agenda a little later tonight, and then once that happens, the administration will reach out to you and tell you about the next steps.
Awesome. Again, thank you for all your time and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Council members, number 7 had an emergency, family emergency. We're going to remove George Libouf from the consent agenda tonight. So moving on to board appointment number 8, Liz Jerger. I don't know. These are how I need help. Lisa, Liz.
Yeah, hi. It's actually Jaeger. Yeah, it's German, but it's spelled very uniquely, so everybody has trouble with it. No worries.
Tell us why you want to join us.
So I work for Preservation Utah. I'm their historic properties manager just recently. I've worked with the organization since 2014, and I have a certificate in historic preservation. So I feel like my skills could be well used, but also it's like an important part of my job, I think, to contribute to the city and county building. I used to be in charge of scheduling the historic tours for the building, and now we've moved that to somebody else. And I will be, I'm doing the easements and the loans instead now, but it's more, serving on this committee is more adjacent to my current role with the organization. I also wanted to note that my office is in District 3, but I live in District 5. I don't think that necessarily matters, but I am within city limits, just as a note.
Thank you for that clarification. We, for a little while, we asked the administration to list that. So we are thankful that we have that listed. We will make the note. I think that there shouldn't be a conflict. There shouldn't be a problem with that. Liz, thank you, Jaeger. I think I learned that word in college. Yes. And thank you for putting for yourself and this, volunteering your talents and time for this historic building and ensuring that it stays here forever. We also need, personally, I think we need people that understand the value of it, but at the same time understands the needs of a changing city. That's me loving you already. So thank you, Liz. Any thoughts? Okay, well, you're going to be placed on the consent agenda tonight. You don't need to attend that meeting. We're going to be approving the consent agenda and tonight, and then the administration will reach out to you soon to tell you about the next steps.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Liz. And item number 9, council members, is a resolution for the amendment to the interlocal agreement with Salt Lake City Library related to the tax increment. This is a written briefing. If you have any questions, you can raise those now, or you can email staff about those. We talked about it earlier today on the CRA portion of the agenda, so we know what this is. So any thoughts? We can move on. Okay. Standing items, reports from chair and vice chair. Vice chair? Nothing. And I don't have any reports from me at them. Well, maybe I do, but I will turn the time to Jennifer for reports and announcements from the executive director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple. Just wanted to remind the council about the West Side Council meeting that we've been putting together at the Utah State Fair Park. This is a meeting we do every year in the community. We've been trying to keep the tradition going. So it will be on September 22nd at the Utah State Fair Park, and just because of technological issues and trying to keep things simple, there will be no virtual option to join. So plan on joining that in person if possible. And then the next item is Councilmember Pui was invited to participate in the county's Behavioral Health and Justice Action Plan team. For those of you who have been in this space for a while, this is essentially a consulting firm that's trying to implement the Miami model here, kind of looking at the behavioral health overlapping with the justice system. So this is going to be a board to kind of figure out how those systems can work best together. And Mr. Chair, you can chime in with anything else you've learned about it, or?
No, I attended the first meeting today, and our mayor, Erin Mendenhall, is co-leading it with our county mayor and Tyler Clancy from the state. So we don't vote, and the rest of us don't, but we participate in the meeting and help make sure that we implement the policies that the consultants are highlighting for us to change. So I'm excited to be part of that. So I will report back when I hear what they want us to change or implement. So is there anything else, Executive Director? No? There is not closed meeting today. And this adjourned the work session for today, August 18th. So we're going to meet on the formal at 7 p.m. Thank you, everyone.